If you want,
What is up, everybody? Happy Friday Eve, and welcome to episode 28 of the Assets Over Money podcast. KD, look like you stepped out, step back in. What's going on, man? How you doing?
hey man, can't complain, my brother. Can't complain. Got a special guest here with me
Yeah.
tonight.
Hi.
Hello.
Say hey. All right, we'll go somewhere.
No, I said I could come with you.
Yeah, well, you can sit in here and play if you want.
Awesome, man. But yeah, man, how's your week been?
Man, it's been productive, bro. You know what I'm saying? I mean, keeping it moving, and you know, we on our game.
Heck yeah, bro. Same, man. So I think we got a pretty interesting topic today, man. Really all about like environment, bro. Your circle, folks you're around. Are they helping you grow? Are they helping you stay stagnant? Are y'all growing together? Are you outgrowing your group? Things of that nature. I feel like that's right on time for a few reasons, man, because I don't know, bro. I've been reflecting back a lot lately, man, on like friendships back all the way from like elementary school through, through middle school, through high school, through college, and things like that, up until to now, the people I'm meeting and interacting with, man. And it's like, as you get older, you're not as close as with people as you used to be. Um, and it's just something to I don't know, something to think about, man, because you go back home, things of that nature, and it's like, man, first thing I do when I go back home is, do I hit up my old friends? Do I hang out with the fam and things like that? And it's like, man, some of those relationships is it's really understanding that a lot of those relationships ended for a reason. You know what I mean? And things like that. Sometimes you outgrow your circle. So really, we just want to dive in. And then I think it's really important every now and again for everybody to audit, their environment, audit your circle, audit the people that you associate with, and really, understand, are these people helping me get to where I want to be?
Man, hey, I think this is a amazing topic, man, because I was just meeting with someone yesterday, man, and of course, we talked about how your network is your net worth. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And having the right people around you is crucial, especially in this day and time. You know what I mean? Because you can't do it on your own. And I mean, especially if you're trying to be wealthy or live a wealthy life and leave a legacy. You know what I'm saying? You got to have good people around you to kind of steer you and hold you accountable as well. You know what I mean? So I'm all for this one tonight, bro. So let's get it.
Yeah, man. So I broke it down into 5 different questions to really ask yourself, man. So diving in, the first one is, who's really adding value in your life? And one of the things I wrote down, man, is like, with that, first thing that jumped into my mind is Proverbs 27:17. As iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens another. And one of the things that made me really think about is like, dang, the folks that I keep in my company, are there people that are really, challenging me? Or are they just kind of cheering me on? Or are they just people who are, almost like pulling me back? You know what I mean?
Yeah, bro. I mean, hey, like we just said, yeah, you got to have folks that challenge you, man, and push you in the right direction. Because at the end of the day, man, like, you know, you don't want a bunch of yes men around you. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't grow that way. You got to have someone that's going willing to tell you if you're wrong and tell you when you're right. You know what I mean? So, like, hey, I completely agree, bro.
Yeah. And I think it goes back to a lot of things as far as like accountability. Because obviously there's a lot of things that separate, you from folks that you may have associated with, middle school, high school, things like that. Obviously real life, distance, being in two different points of life, things of that nature. But with the folks you do associate with, man, one of the things I like to ask myself are, do these people truly hold me accountable? If I am acting out right and not being the best man that I can be, are they, if they know who I am and they truly know what my goals are, they know what the things I want to do, they know that I want to change the world, things of that nature. If I'm acting different, or if I'm acting outside of that, or what I think is my calling, are they willing to hold me accountable? Are they willing to say, hey, Rich, bro, what you're doing is not right? Or, hey, man, maybe you shouldn't make that trip to, so on and so forth, because that's not aligned. Or, hey, man, maybe you shouldn't, go out tonight when you said you needed to hit the phones and talk to all these different, sellers, what have you, right? So I think accountability is really important, because I feel like a lot of time, especially us as men, man, we don't necessarily have folks in our circles that hold us accountable in most cases. I feel like it's more so folks that, go with you with what you're doing and maybe go along with it, but not necessarily the accountability piece. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. I mean, and again, that's like having true friends. You know what I'm saying? A
Yeah.
true friend is going to tell you, if you effing up or you doing you out of character. And at the end of the day, man, I mean, again, your net worth is your net worth, man. So like the people you have around you, I always heard, you're an average of the five people you're around the most. You know what I'm saying? And they're making $20,000 and selling dope and going in out of jail, then more than likely you're gonna be making 20,000 going in and out of jail. You know what I'm saying? Like you got to know, like you're an average of the people that you're around most, man. So having good people around you is like, it's a must.
100%, bro. Yeah, I think it's a big difference there, man. Because a lot of time you have your friends, right? Is like they go along with everything what you're doing and things of that nature. Or maybe they're doing things that are different than what you're doing, but you're almost like, oh, I don't want to say nothing because that's somebody I look up to, or that's somebody that is a friend of mine. And at some point, man, you have to look yourself in the face and look yourself in the mirror and be like, yo, like, what do I want to be? Who do I want to be? What goals do I have? What kind of person do I want to become? And you kind of have to learn to separate, learn to recognize and learn to separate folks who are like, energy drainers, I'd say. And you want to be around people who actually grow your energy or expand you, grow your mindset and things of that nature. And it can be really hard, man, because if you do some real self-reflecting, a lot of times the folks that you associate with most may not be that. And with that, it is completely okay. It's not to say like I'm gonna cut them off, you know what I mean, like that or anything like that. But it's very telling that maybe, hey, I need to expand my circle, or hey, I need to maybe get around folks who align more so with what I am trying to be, not necessarily who I was and who I am currently, but where I want to be,
Man, yeah, because no, energy is real, man.
Yeah.
I mean, people, may not look at it like that, but energy is real. And if you're around folks that have negative energy and just down and, moping all the time, playing a victim, I mean, bruh, you're gonna end up connecting with some of that energy, man, and like, it's gonna pull you down. Like, I can honestly say, like, I've been around that, and like, negative energy will consume you. I
Yeah.
mean, but at the same time, positive energy will lift you. So you got to be able to discern, like, hey, is this person bringing me down, or am I, can I increase is my energy increasing? I always look at it as like a battery. Your phone, the battery in your phone, I don't want nobody bringing me down to the red. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? If anything, keep me charged up, keep me, what I'm saying, on my toes, and wanting to be the best version of myself. So
Yeah.
many people get caught up in, that negative vibe and that negative hypnotic rhythm. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if you ever heard of that before, but like, it's real. You know what I'm saying? Doing the same thing over and over every day and having that negativity right there on your back, bro, you'll be depressed before you know it. You know what I'm saying? And the opposite works just as good too. Like if you're around positivity and you're around folks that's, motivating and encouraging you, man, you gonna feel a whole lot better. Your battery gonna be full. And
Hmm.
folks get caught up in that hypnotic rhythm, whether it's positive or it's negative, and they're just going through it, man, in the rat race, just
Yeah.
over and over every single day.
Yeah. And that's a really good segue into the second point there, right? Like, are you growing around the same people or outgrowing them? And I got Bible scriptures for each of these different topics, and one that I wrote down for this one, just to kind of go off of what you just said there, man, is like it's 1 Corinthians 15:33. Do not be misled. Bad company corrupts good character. So again, you could completely grow up with somebody. Y'all could be from the same area, grew up together, things like that. That could be somebody you consider, your boy. But if they're going down the wrong path, if they are doing things that not great things and aren't becoming the person that you want to be. Like again, it's there. It's in the Bible, man. And again, I think the Bible is like a roadmap to life, man. If you read the Bible, it's like people. I've heard many people say this before. Like the best business book that they've ever read was the Bible. Which the first time I heard that was like, yeah, I don't understand that. And then I actually started reading the Bible and starting to really like reflect on some of the things that were in it, man. And it's like, oh snap, like I can understand that. So again, it's all here, man. You hanging around folks that are bad. You said it. You're a summary of the folks you hang out with. Bad company corrupts good character. Everything has inputs and outputs. If you are surrounded in an environment where people are, whatever that it may be, maybe not going nowhere, maybe it's, doesn't necessarily have to be something as crazy as oh they out there selling drugs or breaking the law, but maybe they just sit around playing video games all day. Maybe they not really trying to become anything with their life outside of like just working and work a job, up until they retire. If you're somebody who's entrepreneurial and you want to break out of that rat race before, the typical retirement, you can't just be around folks that want to retire when they're 60 or work their whole entire lives. It just doesn't, it's like you're putting obstacles in your way that don't need to be there.
Oh yeah, for sure, bro. I mean, you got to stay focused with even the people you're with.
Yeah.
You got to know that, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, excuse me. Like, if you know you want to live a certain kind of way, you got to get around people that's living like that. You know what I'm saying? Or you know what I'm saying? Have positive influences around you, man. Because the worst thing you could have is someone you tell your dreams to, and they're just killing you. They're like, man, you can't do that. You know what I mean? I don't know why you trying to be something that you're not. You know what I'm saying? Like, we coming from the black community, we get that sometimes. You know what I'm saying? And like, you have to be able to decipher. Like, look, I don't care what you say. Matter of fact, I can't even be around you like that.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's family. You know what I'm saying? Like, even family would go, would do you like that because they're kind of projecting their own feelings onto you, and it's like, I don't even want to live like that. I don't want to be like that.
Yeah.
And unconsciously, you're starting to become that because the more you're around them, the more you become.
Yeah. Once you recognize that, man, it's like there's nothing wrong with you outgrowing, your circle, man. People, say it all the time. People either with you for a reason or a season. And then even sometimes those seasons are for, reasons, man. Is life is like it's filled with lessons, man. And just because somebody's in your route for a certain amount of time doesn't mean that they need to be in your life the rest of your life, right? You can completely outgrow circles, you can outgrow communities that you're in. And that's not to say don't forget where you came from. And again, it's not to say that I need to cut these people off, but if you need to step out and associate with other folks, man, folks who are higher level thinkers than you or either on that same path as you, there's nothing wrong with that, man. I think too many times, and you see this with like, bro, the perfect example is like you see this with folks in the NFL, you see this with folks who become famous, say like rappers or actors and whatnot. They get that check, and the first thing they do is they go back home and start handing out money or their entourage, hanging out, looking out for their boys, and then they go broke trying to take care of other folks that don't even need to necessarily be, around. It's not to say you don't look out. You always look out for your people, man, but you don't have to. You don't have to essentially the energy that you have. You don't have to put your energy and all that you have onto somebody else because you can't grow that way. You have to break out time. You have to break out things specifically for yourself if you want to get to the places you're going, right? And I think I've said this here before, man. I learned this a long, long time ago. Back when I was in high school, I had a personal trainer. I started getting pretty good at football, so I got a personal trainer and whatnot to help me get more looks for college. And I spilled my soul out to him, and I told him like, I usually do a lot for people. I look out, yada yada yada. Shared a whole bunch of stuff, and he sat me down one day, like after one of my trainings. He was like, "Rich, man, like you do a lot for people. That's great. Continue to do that. But at some point, man, you got to be a little bit selfish. You got to say, what do I want to do? Who do I want to be, and go make that happen because you can't. Nobody else can do that for you. People can want certain things for you. People can tell you you're capable of different things. But if you don't truly want it for yourself and go out there and go do it, nobody's going to do it for you. It's not going to get handed to you. If you want to go to college, you can't just sit here and go to practice or train all the time with your close friends. You got to break out and put some other work in, man, because practice ain't just going to get you there. You got what other
Right.
work do you want to put in to get there? What are you willing to sacrifice? And that's something that has always always stuck with me. So Larry, if you're out there listening, shout out to you, Larry. Appreciate that lesson. Um, but yeah, man.
Dog, I learned, man, later on in life that sometimes you have to love from a distance, man. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? There's nothing wrong with loving your people and wanting to be there, but sometimes you got to love from a distance, yo, because I'm telling you, man, misery loves company, man. Misery loves company.
Yeah,
Always remember that, man. And like someone that's miserable, they will consume you in their misery, man. You know what I'm saying? And that's why it's hard to tell folks, especially people that are miserable and just bitter with life, what your goals and dreams are. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Because they'll rip you up, man, and tear you out and spit you out. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
So sometimes it's important, man, to love from a distance.
yeah. And actually, on that note, bro, because that's literally number three. How do you create distance without creating drama? Like dive deeper into that, man. Same question. Like, how do you create that distance? You have to love for distance, but how do you create that? If that's somebody you care about, somebody who's been in your life, somebody that you have a lot of love for, how do you create that distance without creating any type of issue?
I mean, at the end of the day, man, if it's gonna be an issue, it's gonna be an issue. I mean, because
Okay.
with black folks, man, some people like, man, you don't call me, you don't try to show up. You know what I'm saying? Like, bruh, I don't want to have to come and talk that negativity around you. You know what I'm saying? And it's like you have to be honest with yourself. You know what I mean? Because like I come from a negative family and dysfunction. You know what I'm saying? Straight up. And it's like, I had to kind of separate myself from that because my aunts and uncles, I mean, that's what they know. That's all they know. And the thing about it is they never tried to change it. That's just who they are. You know what I mean? And I love my family, you know what I'm saying? But like, I mean, after my granddad died, in 1994, I mean, bruh, it was tough because all my cousins were close together. We were close, you know what I mean? But our parents were so retarded, like, you know what I'm saying? It was like after my granddad died, it was like they were all at each other's necks, you know what I'm saying, about the will. And so like that negativity kind of went through the kids. And so it's like we grew up in negativity. And it's like, you got to be able to break away from that to be able to understand, hey, this is how I want to live. And, I got mad love for my uncles, my aunts, my
Yeah.
cousins. But, bro, like, I have to love them from a distance. You know what I mean? Because, like, I can't let their negativity consume me. And not saying, because, I mean, my cousins, I mean, we all in the same boat. But at the same time, like, our parents, they're still the same people. You know what I'm saying? And, like, I can't just, I can't indulge into that negativity. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like I just can't. So you have to be able to love at a distance. And at the end of the day, yeah, I'm not calling you like that every day. I'm not being around you every day. But that's the decision that I've made, even for my daughter. Like I don't need her coming up into that. You know what I'm saying? She needs to be as happy go lucky as possible until she finds out who she is. And
Facts.
hopefully she won't put herself around negative people because negative energy will drain you. And by the next thing you know, you depressed and you
Right.
walking down here, with your head down and you can't think straight and and you can't get nothing done. You feel
Yeah.
me? So like, it's tough, man, because the family is the closest people to you. But like at the same time, I mean friends too. If you gotta love them from a distance, that's just what you have to do if that's how you want to live your life, because you know I can't be around that negativity all day
No.
and day.
Yeah. I look at it like this, man, is if there's ever, if I'm starting to notice things start to take their course to where I'm starting to separate from folks like naturally, like I look at it, somebody told me a long time ago, you don't have to announce every exit, just leave. Like just leave with grace. Meaning like if somebody for example, bro, like think about the first time, depending on where you go to school, but think about you moving to a different area, you got your friends back home, y'all not talking every day, things of that nature, man. And like I feel like in a lot of things, bro, like and this is this type of person I typically am, is I'm always the one reaching out, whether it's friends, whether at least initially, whether it was like friends, whether it was family, whatever that it was, I'll always be the one to reach out, right? And somebody's like, all right, just somebody told me one day, it was like, you want to see who really really is there for you, who really really cares about you.
Thank you.
Stop reaching out first and see how long it takes for folks to reach out to you, and then that'll
Yep.
be very very it'll be pretty telling. And it was. And
Yeah.
I look at it as like your example will do the talking. Like you don't need to sit here and say, "Well, I can't be around you because XYZ," or "I can't do to whatever." Again, you don't have to announce every exit. Just leave and just let your example do the talking. Like this is who I am. This is who I'm trying to become. We're naturally starting to fade away. Still got love for you. You were in my life in a very important time. Still love you. Still here for you. But I have to do what's best for me. Got to do what's best for my family. Got to do what's best for the person that I am. Becoming.
Yeah, man. I mean, hey, you gotta know what you want in life, man. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I got a lot of positiveness right here. You feel me? And it's like I can't tank that.
Mhm.
I can't tank that with being around negative folks and negative people, man. I mean, like you gotta know if folks are draining your battery, first off, you got to know: do I want my battery to be drained every day? What do I want in life? You know what I mean? So you got to be honest with yourself and the things that you want, because at the end of the day, this is your life, and you only got one to live, Abu. And at the end of the day, you got to make that decision. And sometimes those are hard decisions to make.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like we only got one life, man. We got one life to live. And if you're not honest with yourself, who else gonna be honest with you? You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I mean, nobody cares that you're in that negative hypnotic rhythm and you're doing the same thing every single day, and that you're depressed and that you're miserable and you're bitter that your life is like that. Nobody cares. So you got to take the reins, the bull by the horns, and make it right. Because if you don't, you're gonna be bitter, and you're gonna be angry, and you're gonna be frustrated about things not going your way.
Yeah. 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 That's all I got on that one, man. So I guess jumping in number 4, and we kind of hit on this already, but I do want to dive deeper into it. But the question is, what happens when the people closest to you don't support you? And with that is, I think in any instance, whether it's friends, whether it's family, whether it's a coach, a mentor, what have you, like it's gonna hurt regardless. You know what I mean? But after you get over it, which is natural, and it should hurt. If somebody you care about is not supporting what you want to do, like
Right.
it's supposed to hurt. I think after that, man, is what I have learned is just to kind of like block it out, man. It's like I know who I am, I know what I'm going to become, and I know who I want to be. You know what I mean? So like you kind of block it out after a while, and it hurts and it sucks. But after you get over that, it's like you gotta block it out, bro, because I know who I am, and it's like a question is like, well, one, where is this lack of support coming from? Is it coming from a place of a place of care? Because like for instance, like if it's your family, a lot of times your family will want certain things for you because they think that is truly the best decision for you, and they think that's the safest bet. A lot of folks don't want to see you take risk and then fail. On the flip
Right.
side, if it's outside of that, man, I think it comes from a place of insecurity or hate or just not true belief in you, man. And that make me question, like, yo, like you said that we were close, but you don't believe in me. You know what I mean? And that should be very telling in itself, which I would much rather know outwardly that somebody doesn't support me than behind the scenes and then find out, later that somebody never supported me. They was talking about my back the whole time. The whole time I thought they were, smiling my face that like they was close. So yeah, I like
Dog,
to be like,
usually they're projecting their feelings onto you.
yeah,
You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? I mean, I remember when I didn't, when I got my real estate license, and how everybody talked about, man, that test is really hard, man. I heard it's really hard. I don't know if I could do that. Some people are just so caught up in, their own life that they don't want to fail, and like they just want to live a life of comfort, right?
mhm,
And if you live that life of comfort, you're gonna be you're gonna be on that hamster wheel. You know what
yeah,
I'm saying? Because in order to excel and to scale your life and your business or whatever you're in, you got to be willing to take risk, right? You got to be willing to fail to be able to excel. Did I just say that? You got to be willing to fail to excel. That's a nice little.
it's bars. You go write one of them hip hop educational raps like Will Smith or something.
You know what I'm saying? But you have to be willing to do that. I mean, even in our schools today, right? Like they teach our kids to kind of, to be perfect, right? And our kids get caught up in trying to be perfect and understanding that you have to fail. And so once you tell somebody your dreams and, they're not, everybody's not going to see your vision. You know what I'm saying? So like when they hear that, they're like, man, you can't do that, or like it's too hard, or they're actually projecting their own feelings onto you because they don't believe in themselves. They don't
Mhm.
believe that they could do it. But like at the end of the day, just because you couldn't do it don't mean that I can't do it. You know what I'm saying? And like I remember people telling me how hard the real estate test was. I don't even know if they had took the test or not. They may have just heard it from somebody else. But it's almost like they're projecting their own feelings onto me. And hey, I didn't need that at the time. I needed it all encouragement I can get. You feel me? So like you have to be able to put the right people in place to be able to get to where you want to go.
Yeah, there's a quote that goes along with that. It's sometimes your purpose will isolate you before it elevates you.
Mm,
Meaning that if you're going to be different, man, like the path, like you've heard of the thing. I hope I got it. the road less traveled. That poem.
Yeah, I know what you're
Yeah,
talking about.
basically, bro, it's like if you're doing something different from anybody else, it's a lonely. It's lonely. It's supposed to be that way. It's not supposed to be easy. It's not supposed to be, just given to you. If you're doing anything that's different, man, like people gonna look at you differently. Be like, oh, why is he doing that? Like, why not go the route that's already laid out for you? Why not just go to school, get a good job, yada yada, yada, do this, whatever. If you want to be different, you're gonna step out and you're gonna be by yourself for a while, and that's
Yeah, man.
okay. That is completely okay, and that's how it's supposed to be because it's gonna be hard. It's just like and you said this before too, and it's a common quote, man. But it's like the same water that boils the egg softens the potato, and I think that that's like it's like just because I'm in one environment doesn't mean that's the right environment for me. So if you got to
Right.
break out, you got to break out, and it just is what it is. It's gonna suck. It's gonna be lonely, but just know that there's other folks there that you got to seek out. You got to find them that have already been through that, so they can teach you how to navigate, man. And with
Yeah,
that, in
bro.
those times of you're being alone, going through those things by yourself is really I've always sought comfort. Not to say I've done anything super crazy, but there's definitely been times where I was doing something different where I felt like I was, by myself and always had a support system, but I always saw comfort in it as like, dang, some of the folks I look up to, they went through this. And if
Yeah.
they went through this, I know that I can because I know it's possible. Like it's
Yeah,
like
bro.
it's just perfect analogy is like the man who ran a 4 minute mile the first time. I
Yeah.
thought it was impossible. Then he ran it, and then like within a year, all the other people were running sub 4 minute mile. You know what I'm saying? Sub 4 minute miles, right?
Right.
So sometimes all people need is an example to know something is possible to help them get through stuff.
That's it. That's it, man. And so, you can't get discouraged. You know what I mean? When folks tell you you can't, you can't be discouraged about that. And see, that's what, people that have that negative energy will do to you. They'll discourage you and they'll deter you from, your greatness. And you have to be strong enough mentally to say, you know what, I'm gonna do the opposite of what the majority is doing. And I'm gonna do what I feel in my heart is the right thing. And that's
Yeah,
where a lot of folks just get caught up in being robots, man, almost like the Matrix, man. It's like, you're okay with being in the Matrix. You don't want to see the real world. You feel
yeah,
me? Like you just want that security. You want that blanket, you want somebody bringing you lunch every day and covering you up, but you don't really want to see the real world. You just want to be in the Matrix and let the Matrix feed you and consume you. You know what I mean? So like
yeah,
you got to be willing to break out. And, a lot of us are not willing to do that because,
yeah,
we get to that place like we don't want to fail.
yeah,
I mean, nobody wants to fail, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, it's okay to fail because when you fail, you learn.
yeah,
And it's like, I had to tell my daughter that, like babies have to fall and get up and fall in order to walk. Yep. That's what I'm talking about you. And at the end of the day, it's like, that's the only way you're gonna learn. You got to be able to make mistakes in order to grow. And some folks don't want to do that. They want to live a perfect, comfortable life. And it's like, in order to be comfortable, you got to be rich.
yeah, yeah, man. Nah, man. I think, bro, bringing it around full circle. Last thing is how do you build a circle that forces you to grow? And again, Bible quote associated with that. Another Proverbs, bro. Like reading a proverb every day, man. It's the book of wisdom. But Proverbs 13:20. Walk with the wise and become wise, for a companion of fools suffers harm. So number one, you need to get in the company of folks who are on the same path as you, man. If you are around a arena or surrounded by a group of people who are either heading in the same direction as you or further along than you, that's when you know you're in a good environment, man. You want to be around people. If you are the smartest person in the room, you need to get into another room because that's never a good spot to be in because
Right.
that is a sign of being comfortable. That is a sign of ego. We need to get that ego checked, man. And I need to be around rooms where people are like, bro, people that grow me, people that challenge me. It's like, man, I thought I was doing good, but then I heard so and so, man. I'm like, damn, I got to step it up because this person is doing X, Y, Z, and they were able to do that, and that's challenging me. I hate, bro. I truly do. I hate being around folks who this sounds bad. But I'm gonna just say it anyway. I don't like being around folks who don't want to do nothing with their life, man. Who I don't want to say like they're not lesser or anything like that to me, but like don't have any goals, don't have any drive, don't have any dream. Because I'm the type of dude. If you get around me, like I'm that positive guy that is always happy, bro. Like right now, it's been raining out there. People say, "Hey, how's it going?" I'm like, "It's a beautiful day, despite the rain." You know what I mean? It's a beautiful day, man. Because guess what? Like I don't know, the rain bring with rain comes, growth for the trees and whatnot, the flowers and whatnot, and you can't have any rainbows without a storm. You know what I mean? So like, there's beauty in everything. So that's me. I'm happy. I'm a cup half full kind of guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. Yeah, bro. I'm telling you, man. And there's so many folks out there just like that. I mean, not only, I mean, like, you a positive light for me, bro. You know what I'm saying? You might not know that, but you are, cuz. You
Yeah,
know what I'm
yeah,
saying? But at the same time, there's folks out there that's the opposite of that. And you like, I had to separate myself from that because, like I said, I know a lot of folks like that and that are negative and that are the opposite. They're the cup half empty type people. And like, bro, like, how can you grow around people like that?
I
So
literally can't be around it, bro. I'm not even joking with you. I will keep the conversation short and I keep it pushing. It's like I can't, bro. You cannot be negative around me all the time and be like, oh, okay, okay. So what are you doing to change it?
no, right?
Nothing.
Because
I'm like, all right, well,
I call them Debbie Downers. You know what I'm saying? Debbie Downers, bro. Like I don't want to be around a Debbie Downer, man. Like we all have our times in the valley where we're going through it, but we can't stay there long. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
We can't.
Some people like being in there, bro. Some people
What?
they're comfortable there, man. It's
That's
like they've
all they
been there for
know.
years. It's like I've been going through this for years. And again, some people gonna be mad at me about this, bro. But like again, even some of those is our people, man. We see our people
Yeah,
just complaining about like all these different things. And again, there's been a lot of things in history that have put us into certain positions of where we're in, bro. But it's like at some point you got to take power of what you like. Take power of your situation. You may not be in the best situation, but you got to take power of that situation and make it yours. Turn the situation into a great situation. And then,
that's
again,
it.
it ain't easy. You know what I'm saying? But you're
No,
a testament to that, bro. With where you come from, the things that you've been through, and seeing the things that you're doing now, man. Like you're a testament. Like there's no excuse. You know what I mean? If we look at statistics based on the things you shared with me, where you come from, statistics would tell us that you would have been in jail. You wouldn't have made it past college. You know what I mean? But you
right.
persevered. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. I mean, like I said, I tell my mom this a long time, all the time, but like a weak-minded person would have been killed themselves. You know what I'm
Boom.
saying? And at the end of the day, it's all about, for one, the love of God, know that God got me. But then two, like I know how I want to live my life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I know how I want my daughter to live and how I want her to grow up and, her kids to be. You know what I'm saying? I don't want them looking at, negativity every time, every day.
Yeah.
I don't, I don't want her living like that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So like we have to be intentional about, how we live and how we think, because we work hard as black folks. We work hard. You know what I mean? But the thing about it is we don't think hard. And
Mm.
you got to use your mind because I mean our mind is our greatest resource. You know what I'm saying? And so like you got your brain and you got your mind. And most of us just use our brain. You know what I mean? We don't use our mind.
Some of us don't even do that.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And then just okay with just having negativity, being negativity, cussing each other out, fighting every day. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what it was about when I was younger. You was either fighting or you was cussing somebody out, or I wasn't the one you wanted to talk to. You know what I'm saying? The frat kind of brought me down. You feel what I'm saying? Kind of just gave me some all kind of life lessons. You feel me? And
Mhm.
like I was not the guy you wanted to talk to, but now I can talk to anybody
Yeah.
and and keep it straight up with anybody without even getting emotional about it.
Yeah.
But that comes from time and learning and loving God enough to want to change my life and want to be in a different place. But a lot of us are just comfortable with being just being that miserable, bitter person.
Yeah.
And like you got to get them away from you, man. Like, hey, keep them away with like a 9-foot pole or something. Like,
Hmm.
bruh, I can't, and like I say, a lot of that might, could be your family. Yes,
I already have.
yeah,
I have the other Barbie one.
yeah. But I'm on the call, okay? So let me finish this. But yeah, man. I mean, but dog, that's what we do this for, though. You know what I'm saying? For those folks out there that's, may have a negative circle or bitter family or, have dreams of and aspirations of living a great life, you got to be able to discern of who you have in your circle. Because if you don't, then, you're gonna be the average of the 5 people you're around the most.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. So yeah, bro, I think you hit the nail right on the head, bro. And I ain't gonna belabor it, anymore, man. Your environment is, in summary, bro. Your environment is one of the most, arguably the most important thing. Again, you could do some great things, but if you come home or if you go back to just being around that environment, eventually it's going to bring you down. You got to change your environment, or it's going to bring you down in some type of way. Just like, bro, again, another perfect example. Think about like these sport, like athletes that make it, or rappers that make it, and they come back home and they get killed in their hometown. You know what I
Right.
mean? You had no business going back there, man. Why you go back there? I want to hang around with the same kids on the block, blah blah blah. There's no need for that, man. No need
But
for that.
again, they money may have changed, but they mind ain't changed. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying? And that's the thing. Like I was doing some research the other day. Like 70% of NFL players go broke, man, after they retire. That's crazy.
that
And
don't make
like
any sense.
60% of NBA guys go broke after they retire. Like, man, that's bananas to me, because like you have millions of dollars and you never change. Your mind never changes and your environment never changes. And next thing you know, the career is over, and you're looking like, where all the money go? You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
but the money gone and the people gone too. That's how it be. You be standing in the empty house like Will Smith.
Yeah, and now that them negative people don't even want to be around you no more. You know
Uh-huh.
what I'm saying? And they don't even want to deal with you no more, because you ain't really, you ain't doing nothing for them. So like, it's all about who you have around you, man, and your environment, bro. Because hey, if you want to be a negative person, put yourself around a negative environment, and
Mhm.
trust me, you'll become negative. But it's the
Amen.
same. The same goes with being, if you want to be a positive and an inspiration to people, get around people that's positive and inspirational. You know what I'm saying? And just let iron sharpen iron, just like the first scripture you said. You know what I'm saying? If that's
Yeah.
the case, man, you always gonna be in a better place, because your environment is gonna hold you up.
Amen. Awesome, bro. Hey, I ain't got nothing else, man. It was good logging in tonight, man. I think it was a good topic. Um, and I hope it was impactful to some of y'all listening, man. I truly do. Again, if you guys need anything, feel free to reach out. If you guys want to see some more stuff, or I guess hear from a certain type of person, or just have questions about anything, please reach out. Use us as a resource. But until next time, KD, I'll see you in about 2 weeks, brother.
Hey, stay positive, man.
Hey, peace.
Yes, sir. Holla.